Guys, welcome to this episode of the Midwest Flyways podcast. I'm your host, Joey. We've also got Cal over here, and today we have a very special guest, one of the OGs in the industry, Shawn Stahl.
What's up?
Shawn, thanks for coming, man.
Well, I was here, and how many times have you tried to get me to come out here?
3 years.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
And I had to hit you up like 2 months in advance and be like, you're coming
and I
on.
said, yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
Well, I asked him, and he's like, yeah, man, I'd love to. It's just they tell me where to go, and I go there. It's like he goes to someone's house every single day that he's in Minnesota.
For sure.
So annoying.
And Minnesota hospitality.
You came to a house tonight.
Yeah.
This one. So thanks for coming.
And I actually thought the party was tonight, too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so, yeah.
Perfect. So you're going to have to come back tomorrow night.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I know where it is now.
Yeah.
I kind of got lost. Tried to pull in the other driveway.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I had him come out and wave at me.
Right.
It's a little bit of a maze over here. It's not that easy.
Pretty cool. It's very rural right
Oh,
here.
yeah.
And you're not that far out of the city.
No. It's like I work in the Twin Cities Metro. I'm like a half hour, and I'm 43 minutes from the airport, and I can goose hunt in my backyard.
Gotta love it.
Pretty slick.
Yeah.
Pretty slick. I can't really be mad about it. But, dude, thank you so much for coming on again.
I'm happy to be
3
here.
years trying. Yeah. Thank you for coming on finally. I think it's because we finally got enough followers, so I understand that you're a big deal.
No.
You know, there needs to be a certain expectation of how many people are going to see it, and I understand that.
No.
So thank you for...
It's unbelievable. No, here's the thing, right? I've listened to some of your other podcasts, so we figured we'd have to razz you pretty good when we start this, get you loose in that chair. You know, I know you're already slightly uncomfortable, so
horrible.
Gosh, you go
because you have a more comfortable chair than I do. Why do you put people in this?
I have to sit in this so much. Yeah. Yeah,
no. Come over here and sit by me.
I've sat in them.
Yeah.
I've sat in them. That we might have to do that sometime. Joey, I thought you were literally going to go sit in that chair.
I didn't even want one of these things. It's a sponsor plug, right?
That's right.
Oh, well, that too. But
yeah. It's
but also, you look thirsty.
Yeah. I'm not a hand model. Oh.
No, dude, you're an eyeball model.
Oh, there's that.
Seriously, the icy...
I can fall back on that, yeah.
The icy blue eyes just stare into my soul. It creeps me out.
I've been eye raped about 6 times today. And it was light on crowd today. Tomorrow will be worse.
Oh, yeah.
I get violated. No. I feel shamed.
Yeah, no boundaries.
No, I mean...
How many times are people bringing that up to you where it's like, dude, your eyes are insane?
Well, most of the time, it depends on who it is. You really don't care. You're like...
A lot of guys,
Yeah. Yeah. You
were the first. I knew that.
You were the first one today.
Yeah.
I was trying to explain who you were to my wife, and I was like, just look at his eyes. They're insane.
Yeah, everybody, are those contacts? No. They come try to scratch your eye out.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Get real close to your face to look.
Yeah. Let me see that. Come here.
Yeah. Unreal.
No, why don't you give us a little introduction as to who you are, Shawn? Because there's a lot of younger people on here that
I'm not good
necessarily didn't grow up watching you on TV. So
yeah, no, I'm not good at pulling.
You're the 2000 world champion.
Yes, I did that.
Yep,
I did that. I went 1 year. The first year I went, I won. I wasn't ever going to go. Didn't want to go. It's always just during hunting season. And the only reason I got in the calling contest was to become a better caller. And like we were talking before this, when you were trying to learn how to call and you're calling, they're like, well, I don't have time. I don't do it. Then the only time there was no YouTube, there was no, CDs, DVDs, any of that stuff. It was to go to these contests and get around people and listen to it and rub elbows with them and learn. So that's kind of how I.
Who taught you the most on a goose call?
Probably myself.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah. Because you didn't have anybody around, and when you went to contests, it was more listening to other people and trying to get those sounds, and then going to the park. Like literally, you would go to the park and you'd listen to them and try to mimic that stuff. And we had a refuge there, but most of the time with contest callers, it's competitive, and they want to win just as bad as you. And they're not going to help you.
Yeah, they're not going to teach you.
There were a few people. Tim Grounds was always a straight shooter. Always told you, exactly what he thought you needed to do. And Tim, he was an awesome individual. If anybody ever had a chance to spend time around him, but probably can do more on a goose call between him or Hunter can do more on a goose call than anybody can. And sometimes he did win a lot of calling contests, but
no shit.
But sometimes like he would just get his routines would just be so off the wall. Like he'd get going on something and he'd hit a note that he really liked. He'd do like 10 in a row. Like, it just had no flow to it or anything.
Yeah.
He'd get cut and not know why, It's like, well,
what the hell was that?
This was changed a little bit. Or he'd lock up the call, and he was so talented he could do it 3 times in a row to make the judges think that
it was on purpose.
He did that on purpose.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah. Well, he was a wild dude to hang out
with
and have fun with. But nobody. I didn't have anybody. Like I literally would just sit and lock myself in a room. That's how I learned. I went from an Old 800 and a Ken Martin to buying a half breed. Yeah. Completely different animals, and all my buddies were buying the variable tone honkers. They thought, oh, that sounds great. We saw it on I think it was a 93 Outlaw Decoy video. It was a VHS tape. Tim's down there in the park down there in Marion, and he's blowing all his calls, and it's kind of a commercial for his calls. And all my buddies and everything think, oh, them flutes are awesome. I'm like, no, that half breed's the deal. That's what geese want. And I learned, just lock myself in a room and learn how to blow it. Just tried to figure out, putting different air pressure in and hands, and did that and went from there. But back to the contest, I never would have went because it's during hunting season. I don't want to give up hunting. I went, did the calling contest in the off season to learn to get better, meet new people, network, get out there. But Shawn Mann, I saw him that summer. I think that summer that I won, I blew in 16 contests that summer, and I won 8 of them.
Damn shit.
Yeah, I won 8 of them. And
so you were the guy right then.
For about 2 or 3 years, yeah. I think I went 5 out of 11, 8 out of 16, and that third year I didn't go to very many, but I won quite a few of them, and then I just quit after that. Yeah, so that 8 out of 16, Shawn Mann, we saw him at a contest, and he's like, you got to come out there. And he was one of my idols growing up. I saw him on Kurt Gowdy hunting whatever that show was. I saw him on there blowing that flute, and I was like, oh man, I never had aspirations of beating those guys and saying I was better than them, because if you've been around contest calling and hunters, you're never truly better than, you're just good.
Right.
And nobody will be better than Tim Grounds on a goose call, as far as I'm concerned. Just nobody. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
Well, the only one who could be is his son.
Yeah. And he probably is, but I'm not going to put it. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I love Hunter to death.
Yeah.
But yeah. But so I went that first year. He said, you got to come out there. I went that first year, and I booked a ticket, paid my own way out there. And I've told the story before. I'd been hunting all fall. So, and back then your contest calls weren't your hunting calls. It's still a little bit that way, but your contest calls weren't your hunting calls. And if everybody's blowing a half breed, they're real light on air pressure, real light. And my contest call is really, really stiff and hard to blow. So I've been blowing that half breed all fall hunting, and then got to fly out there. I booked my tickets, and there's a couple of different stories here. I booked my tickets out there and back. Going out there, I flew coach. Coming back, I flew back first class. It was the only ticket I could get.
Really?
Yeah. So it was like,
but
in
you
the
won,
car,
so you could pay for it.
Karma.
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah. So anyway, on the way to the airport, I don't know where my goose call is, my contest call. Don't know where it is. Can't find it. On the way to the airport, I was like, one last place I could check. Open my glove box. There it is.
No shit.
Yeah. So then I get.
So you legit you thought you might have had to.
I was going to borrow a call. I was going to borrow one because at the time I was blowing Foils' calls. I was going to have to borrow one from him, and it was actually a prototype. It was a snow goose prototype insert in it, so it was different than the old straight meat honkers. And there's the story with that, how I started blowing it. But so I blew a couple rounds in the hotel parking lot, because there you do the prelims, the first 2 rounds on Friday, and then you come back for the finals on Saturday. And I get there and I blow a couple routines and I haven't blown a routine, and this is November. I haven't blown one since August, right? So I blow a routine, and if you've done it long enough, but it's in your head. It's just like riding a bike. But what's not the same is that your muscles and everything from blowing a half breed, you pick up that call. I blew 2 routines in there, and you physically can't keep your lips on the call.
Right.
They blow out. You know what I'm talking about. Anybody that's
went from
upper lip, but yeah, anybody that's went from honker hunting up here in the Midwest to going down and blowing at Lesser's knows it in the first 15, 20 minutes. They just know it.
Oh, you just fall apart.
Yeah, you fall apart. So I did that, and I was like, oh no, after two routines in the parking lot. So I go in there, I blow the first routine, no problem. Well, I get the second round call in there, and it's starting to happen. But I got through it, made it to the final round, and then, or made it to the finals the next day.
Yeah.
And I said, "Oh boy," I said, "Don't do anything. Don't call. Don't do nothing.
Don't talk to anybody.
Don't talk. Yeah.
Don't
do
talk to
anything.
anybody.
Yeah. I had the opportunity to go sea gut hunting that morning, and I didn't. Just kind of stayed in the hotel and blew the routine. But if there had been a call off, there's no way I could have made a note.
Yeah, you were trashed.
Yeah, I was out of gas.
Damn.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. But like what we were talking about before was I went to all these unbelievable goose callers.
That's not what we were really talking about.
Well, it's
that's
like
what
who
we can
taught
talk
you?
about now.
Okay.
Who taught you how to call? And you're like, I taught myself. Well, don't come at me like that. But
Don't add
I
me.
thought you were asking about what we were talking about before we started recording.
Before.
Yeah.
Sure.
There's two befores.
sure. So like, what I've noticed in people in the industry, especially like very good contest callers, like all the best people have taught themselves.
Yeah.
Do you think there's like a reason why the people who have taught themselves are better than people who have learned from other people?
I think possibly, maybe. I just think instead of wanting to be like everybody else, you want to be better, in competitive way. I don't know. You got to be a good contest caller, you got to do more than just blow a goose call and make the notes, right? You got to be smart. You got to be intelligent. You got to be able to put a routine together. You got to be able to do that on stage under pressure. Like in the world contest back at the time, there was 500 people watching you.
Jesus.
That's back when, it was big time.
Yeah.
And, you got to be able to deal with that. You got to be able to read. It's like calling geese, but you're calling people. So you got to kind of know what they want to hear, right? Just like out in the field, you got to know what they want to hear, and you got to change it up. You got to be different. You got to be able to set yourself apart. And how do you do that? You got to be louder. You got to have power. There's a difference. You got to have that bass, not just be loud. You got to have some bass. You got to have flow. Your routine's got to go up and down that hill in the volume and the cadence and the pitch and the tempo.
Yeah.
Right. It's got to do all that. And it's got to tell a story and paint that picture in the judge's mind. And you got to, you got to do all that, and you got to sound like a goose and don't mess up. And I tell everybody that, they get into the contest calling, they want to set a routine, and they send it to me, and I'm like, well, you stuck the call 3 times, you did this, you slurred this note, da-da-da. That's a 70.
Yeah.
70. Why walk up on stage for a 70? You want to give them the best that you can do repeatedly when you go up on stage, whether it's just going up there and clucking and moaning. I mean, for your first time, do what you can do, the power flow, volume, control, all that stuff, and don't make a mistake. Let them judge you. And if you do that, if you have all that stuff, you're going to stand on the stage at the end of the contest. And, I was fortunate enough to win a lot of contests, but I was more fortunate to be standing on the stage. I think I only missed 4 or 5 podiums in my entire calling career.
Holy shit.
I only got cut 3 times. Once was in my first contest. Once was down in Peoria. The first time I was down there, me and Grounds finished like 11th. And then the third time I was blowing a flute in a short reed contest. I was the second caller.
Yeah.
I was the only flute caller in the second round. But you got to be standing on the stage. And I tell people, if you're standing on the stage, consider that a win, because it comes down to how you drew in the order you draw. If you draw early, if there's good callers. Like at the time, I wanted to call right after or against like a Kelly Powers, a Fred Zink, those people, and Alan McCree's and all that. I wanted to be judged against them because that affects your score and how it rides up. You end up drawing early, first, second, third, fourth, whatever. They haven't heard a lot, so they're a little stingy on their numbers. You get 100%. Going on them, boom, 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 and they've heard them, and they're like, oh my gosh, she's better. Well, all of a sudden you're a point every judge, a point every. Now you're 3 points. If they drop the high and low and everybody, you're 3 points up. So it comes into that. So if you're standing on the stage, it comes down to personal interpretation from the judges, but they knew enough to like you to get you there. Consider that a win. And if you're standing on the podium enough times, you're going to win a pile of money and a pile of contests. Yeah. And that's where I think a lot of people fail. And like I've talked about this before with other people, I could do a lot more on a goose call than I ever did in contests.
Yeah.
And it comes down to being able to put it all together in a routine, but also to paint that picture to the judges, but also you're calling to people and you're trying to impress them. And if you start doing off the wall wacky stuff,
that they've never heard
geese
before?
probably do, maybe do.
Yeah.
But they've never heard before. Well, guess what? It's 50-50.
You don't sound like a goose.
It's 50-50 to them. You're probably going to get cut as many times as you get moved on.
Yeah.
And mine was all about being consistent and getting on stage and being there at the end and letting them pick a winner. So
yeah, and I am not a great caller by any means, but one thing I wanted to say, because you asked such a good question about like what makes it, some of these guys better having learned on their own. I mean, a goose call, a duck call is at its core, it's a musical instrument.
Correct.
Right? And when you think about like the best guitar players in the world or the best trumpet players in the world, what a lot of those people will say is, if you look at it like you look at guys like Joe Bonamassa, like a guitar player like that, right? And he has said many times, I'm great at this because no one taught me, so I know the origin of why everything sounds the way it does. Mm-hmm. So when you're learning and no one's teaching you, you're just blowing a call until it sounds like something you've heard, and now you know why you got there or what the origin of that sound was, which gives you so much more in an arsenal.
Yeah, and YouTube has its good and bad, and social media has its good and bad. The problem with it is you get a hot caller or whatever on the contest, and then everybody watches you, and they try to copy him. They sound just like him. Now you show up at a contest, there's 3 people that sound like Hunter Grounds and 3 people that sound like Robbie Iverson. So not only is he competing to get the judges like him, he's trying to stand out from them, and it just becomes more difficult. I think it's more important to find your way and make your own style and do what makes you you.
Yeah, being unique.
And stand out.
Yeah.
So I don't mean to interrupt you, but yes.
But you are.
I have a great question for you after we do this.
I just wanted to talk to you about one of our podcast sponsors because we have to do this, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But our first sponsor I want to talk about tonight is Outlaw Light. It is what we are drinking here tonight. It's very delicious. I'm a big fan of it. It's out of Colorado, and I think it's like in between a Rolling Rock and a Miller High Life made a baby. That's what Outlaw Light is.
I think that's a good comparison.
But better.
I would say
it's
better.
good.
Yeah,
It doesn't have the weird aftertaste that a Rolling Rock does,
Uh-huh. It's got good genetics.
Yeah, it does have good genetics.
Yep.
You can tell by the rack.
It's a light beer with flavor.
It's a light beer with a big rack.
That's right. That's exactly it. Yeah, 100%.
So guys, go and check out Outlaw. I'm sure it's in your state. I don't know what state it's in. It's like 21.
And a lot of people that listen to this listen from Illinois.
It's in the Bible Belt.
It's in Illinois, so go get it. Missouri, New York, bunch of states. Just go to
Colorado, Kansas, blah, blah, blah.
And if you listen to our draft that just came out, you can get a free case as well.
Yeah, this is actually insane. So Derek said that if you go to the store and you can send a picture, tag us and Outlaw Beer in a picture with you at the liquor store buying a case, they will literally reimburse that case of beer for you.
So it's buy one, get one.
So I can do this the whole way home?
Yeah, exactly. 100%.
Ooh, challenge accepted.
Yeah.
Sean, you got to send me a picture of your basement when you're done.
Yeah.
Just a 15 cases of beer.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
I'll wallpaper the wall with the boxes.
Oh, you're back
You
in
might
college.
be able to.
Yeah.
You might be able to.
Yeah. I remember one contest we won. It was I can't remember the. We won cases of beer. Yeah, and it was not very
At a
good
calling
beer.
contest?
Pelosi or something. What was it? Yeah.
Oh,
it was
Nancy? Nancy Pelosi?
No, not your girlfriend.
She's my mom, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's worse. So much worse.
Yeah.
All right, so you had mentioned social media. So one question I have for you, what good has social media done and what bad has social media and kind of the culture of hunting now done for it?
Because you've been around for a really long time.
Yeah.
Like
That's
we wouldn't
fancy
say
word for
pretty
saying
old.
OLD.
We wouldn't say you're a spring chicken.
Yeah. Oh, I can still jump.
Yeah.
Couple more of them outlaws. I'm gonna start crowing.
Let's go. That's how you know they're good.
I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Yeah. What was the question now?
Yeah. No, okay. So the question was,
social media.
yeah, how has it changed hunting and like good and bad and everything?
I think it's brought more awareness to our sport, but I don't think it's always been on a positive light. And I think social media has brought a new group of hunters into the sport that never that hadn't existed before. I don't know that it's such a good thing when I don't know. Like I'm a traditionalist in why I like to hunt. I mean, I like to be out in the outdoors. I like to enjoy nature. I like to fool nature. The thing that bothers me the most is like you jump in any blind, and like not layout blinds, but like a panel blind or a stand, like a
pit blind,
anything like that. What do you see? It's just taking a look to your left or your right.
They're on their phone.
They're on their phone. It's sticking out the top, or they got a camera. It's all about the gram. It's people, they want to, instead of living in the moment and making memories up here, they're capturing that memory for everybody else to see.
Yeah.
And that's a different experience than just taking it in. And that's, I mean, like, I don't like what the direction is. And I almost see a market correction at some point when it becomes not cool anymore.
To post your shit?
Yeah, to post stuff. And I think we're just going to lose, because until something else is a new high for them, they can go somewhere else and get likes and whatever. They just move on.
Yeah. You think it's just a fad?
It's a fad for some, but there's some good in it too. There's like some young people that kind of getting it and understand what hunting is and portraying it in the right light. I just think that,
it's tough because it's like the hard part, I think from our perspective, right, like seeing what the younger generations and even our generation, has been brought up in. It's hard to think, how can we get people to continue this on if we're not utilizing where they're at,
What do you mean?
So, they're on social media, right? And that's why kids are making decisions and doing stuff now.
It's crazy how it's crazy.
So,
the one thing that social media has done, and you, if you want to call it YouTube social media too, but it's sped the process, the learning process. Like, it doesn't take as long to learn how to set decoys, how to read birds, how to blow, a call, this in where to hunt, and how to, all that stuff. It sped that process. That took me years and years and years to figure out. And I'm not in any way have any animosity towards that. That's just progress. And that's part of, like, I have no problem teaching people. And that's part of that is because where I came from, nobody would teach you. That's why I came up with my first DVD, is to teach people so they didn't have to lock themselves in a room and learn all that stuff. So, and I'm still of the mindset, like, I go hunting, there's things that I've never seen. I go out hunting one day and I've never seen that before.
Yeah.
Or I learned something. And if you teach somebody and they raise that bar, that makes you push and try to be a little bit better yourself.
Yeah.
It makes me, because I'm competitive at anything I do. If I try to do something, I'm going to win.
Yeah.
And if I don't win now, you better watch out, because I'm going to get you when you're sleeping.
I love that.
I mean, that's just how I am.
Yeah.
And so in order for me to keep moving that bar up, everybody else has got to push me. So I'm happy to, to teach people how to do things. And I'm never afraid. I'm not worried about somebody being better than me, because I'm going to, if they are tomorrow, the next day I'm going to be better.
Yeah, man, we can relate to that so much, because, like, obviously just doing the different videos and stuff that we've done, a lot of people have asked us, like, how do I start a channel, or how do I do this, or a podcast, or whatever. And we've always said, man, like, we're not going to be gatekeepers, like, we want to be able to share what we know so that other people can try to do that too. And if we're going to be afraid of what they might do, we might want to look in the mirror and decide how hard we're really caring.
Why are we doing it?
Yeah, what the hell are we doing then?
And here's my thing on that topic too is I'm not a world champion goose caller or anything.
But you hang out with a few. And
I know how to kill a bird. And it's like, when we started making videos, we started in February of 2016. Videos. Yeah, like
not your previous.
Right.
Well,
Shawn. Not my OnlyFans. That was before. Now, don't bring that up.
Yep.
But
you never saw him from the shoulders up, though.
Anonymous.
Yeah.
Very distinguishable, though.
That was always my claim. I'd tell everybody, they asked how I got into business. I said, well, you probably seen me, but you haven't seen me. I was money shot.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
But no, I felt so weird because we're starting this YouTube channel in February of 2016.
Yeah.
So it's right after hunting season has stopped. It's like, what do we make videos about?
Yeah.
Like, we can't hunt anything. And so Connor's like, well, you know how to duck call. You know how to goose call. You should teach people how to do it. And I'm like, I am in no position to teach people how to do it.
Yeah, this was an awkward thing for us.
But no, and I get that.
Yeah.
Because you're looking at other people you look up to, but there's people that don't.
Who am I?
You see that at, like, people come up to the booth. Like today at Game Fair, they walk up to the booth and like, you want to try? No, I'll just buy it. I'm like, you're right here, now, right in front. Let's work it. Let's get, like, well, I'm too shy. I'm like, look, I literally started worse than this. Like, I mean, I locked myself. I didn't know how to do anything. So don't worry. I've seen it all, so
100%.
bring it out, So what's to say that they learn from somebody that has medium skills, bring them up to it. And then you, in turn, when you're teaching them, you learn how, because it's hard. There's some people that know.
You learn so much more.
Because there's so many people that can blow the rear end out of a goose call, but don't know how to teach people how.
They don't know the mechanics of how it's actually working.
Any of that stuff. So, there's.
It made him a way better caller.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just watching us start doing the videos, and as he progressed, showing the videos,
watching and learning.
Yeah, and it was a little. I mean, in the beginning, he was like totally against it, and me and Connor were like, "Well, dude, look, like this isn't about you saying."
There's always somebody that's going to be better than you at something else. If you're trying to use that as you'll never get anywhere. We were talking about that upstairs, earlier. You got to just stick your feet in. Quit being so conservative about something.
You can't risk. Like, if you don't risk, you're not going to gain anything.
Without risk, there's never no reward.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to ask you then. So earlier you had said that, one of the things.
Anything.
No. You said that, it bothers you that guys are like sticking cameras and phones out.
Mm-hmm.
So, not to be like, kind of in your face about it, but then, what do you say about like you producing the TV shows?
Yeah,
right?
I know.
So like,
it's kind of, yeah.
Yeah,
but
so
you go in with that intention.
Let him defend himself.
Yeah, I get wrapped up in it, and hunting sometimes, and I see what it does when you have a camera and you're worried about that. Did you get this? Did you get that? It's stressful. It's sometimes not fun. It takes the fun.
100%.
It takes the fun out of hunting, and we've through the years, there was a couple years in it. So we've been filming RNT-V for 18 years. I've been there for 16 of it, and I filmed the DVD series Fowl Pursuit and way before that. So 20 some years I've been in the outdoor waterfowl industry, filming of some way or another. And there's few years in there where I get burnt out, literally burnt out, because there's so much going. You got to be on the field. You got to be on the, and the setup's got to be right. The lights got to be this. Everybody's, and through the years, I've just kind of gotten more relaxed. It's like, that's not real. Like, let's do this as real as possible. We're not doing no fake cutaways, guys coming up out of the blinds. We're not doing this. We'll take 2 cameras, and what we get is what we get, and it's real. You know, and quit worrying and fussing about how great the hunt's going to be and all this, because people have bad hunts.
Yes, they do.
That's part of it, and that's learning. And we have bad hunts.
Yep.
I get mad, and I scout harder the next day. I make sure I pay more attention to detail and setting up the blind and where the decoys are and, where they're coming from, all that stuff.
Yeah.
So
I wanted to ask you what all goes into producing RNT-V. So like, how many camera guys? You plan out your year ahead of time? Do you
I try to, and we used to go and film a bunch of hunts and then just throw it up at the end of the year and go, okay, we can make a show about this. We can make a show about this. We can make.
You go through the footage at the end of the year.
We did, and that was, looking back on it, that was the wrong way to do it.
Yeah,
it's better to go in with a specific purpose. Like, what's our main goal here? Goose Camp South. We're going to go to Oklahoma. We're going to shoot a bunch of little geese. But it's not about just shooting little. It's all about the camaraderie and the fun. Us playing ping pong, going to the local burger shack and just jacking around, doing all that kind of stuff.
100%.
But having that storyline, when you go into a hunt, what your story is, you're more apt to get that B-roll, because the B-roll is what tells the story. It's not, hey, man, how many different ways can you see a goose get shot and die? It's just 100%. Not.
Right. Is this mallardsmackers.com or?
Yeah, people aren't really into that anymore. It's not into that, the old foils, rock music. It just,
we've seen it.
I still like it, but most people don't. They want to be entertained. They want to see personality, and they want to learn something.
They want to be a part of it, too.
They want to feel engaged, Yep.
Yeah, and I think more than anything, people want to know you. Like, what do you do outside of it? We know you kill birds.
And that's always been the hard part for me, was putting that other side out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm always...
Because I think you're hilarious, but you're very reserved on camera.
100%.
Very professional.
And I've tried over the years to be more who I really am, because
yeah.
I am like people think I'm serious all the time because
Yeah.
my wife says I got that angry bitch face all the time because I'm always thinking about how I'm going to kill him tomorrow. You know?
Resting bitch face. Yeah.
That's why you're mad. You stay mad at him.
Oh, I'm mad at him. Yeah. But yeah,
Just sick for it,
like
huh?
just hanging out. Yeah. If I'm going to beat you up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
So I've heard a rumor from more than
probably
one.
true.
Yeah, from more than one person that you are like very serious in the blind. Like no talking.
Hey man,
Like you're there to kill birds and that's it.
damn right. Is there any other reason to go out there? I mean, yeah,
camaraderie, have fun.
Hey, I get mad at them, not at the people. I'm mad at the birds. Like I want to win every day. Like yeah.
You're competitive.
So is it like a numbers deal, or why are you so like serious?
No, it's not a numbers deal. I just want to win.
Successful as you can.
I want to win. I want to
Yeah.
win. I mean, it's not about shooting a limit. I want to win.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, it annoys the crap out of me when you're calling birds and there's three birds, they're on their phone and they're laughing and hooping and hollering. I'm like, hey, but they're coming. Like, shut up.
Don't you give a shit?
Yeah. No. Yeah. But the guys I hunt with will just mess with me too. So I've learned it. Yeah. Yeah. But I'm pretty serious about it. Yeah. To the point it's probably not healthy, but yeah. Yeah.
Are you ever yelling at people in the blind and shit? Like, shut
sometimes.
up.
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah, I'm a little general Nazi dude. Yeah.
Here's what
but the last few years I've learned to take it a lot less
Take
serious.
it down a notch.
Yeah.
Well, here's my thing.
Until it doesn't go right for about 2-3 days, and then it. Yeah.
Then it comes back out. Then you're fucking really
It's
mad at him.
Never gone.
Right. Can't hide how mad at him you are.
Because people will ask me, like all my friends, like when I was partying back in the day, they'd be like, "Where'd you go, Joe? Why'd you stop drinking with us? Why'd you stop coming to the U of M? Like, why aren't you here on the weekends?" Like, this is that without like the alcohol. You know, like I can still hang out with my friends. I can still have a great time. It's not deer hunting where you have to sit alone, quiet, no smell. You're hanging out with your buddies. You're laughing. You're hooping and hollering, and you don't have to shut up until someone sees birds.
Yeah.
You know.
Hey man, if we're on a hunting trip, I'm in bed early, but I don't sleep.
Right, yeah.
I
You're
just sit there. I
got
got it going through my head. All right, this is the way it's going to go. We're going to set up like, yep, we're going to do this. They're coming from this way. You know, I'm playing it all out. And like, all right, we got to remember to get this out of the barn. We got to have this. We got to do this. I mean, I lay awake all night.
No shit.
I have not. Hey, I have not slept an opening night or the first night on a trip in I don't know 20 years.
No way.
The opening
It's
night
really hard for me to sleep.
Like
on
I
opening
don't.
night.
I lay awake being mad at him.
Yeah, all I can see is him.
I'm mad at him right now. My
shit,
hair on
he's-
my arm standing up. Right
Getting
now.
pissed right now just talking about it. I can just see him with the Zach Galifianakis meme with the numbers, and he's like
Equations.
just laying in bed.
And the guys in the crew would be screwing with me and stuff, and I'm like, whatever. Yeah.
Who's that guy who has glasses, has a southern accent?
Phil.
Dude,
Phil
he
Holloway.
seems like a fucking riot.
Oh, anything. He is a first class individual at
He's
every aspect of life.
hilarious.
Yeah,
First rate human being. Yeah,
really
he's
good
funny.
on camera.
Oh yeah, he is. Yeah, definitely.
You like
definitely.
grow up with him or something? Or
No,
what?
I didn't. We actually met in Manitoba. Excuse me. We were staying at the same farmhouse, and he would always come. We had a buddy up there, and he'd get like these 3 camper trailers, and he had a trailer, and then his parents' house. It's a farmstead, and they had a house and a trailer, and then 3 little campers they put around this little fire pit. And Phil and his group would come up there the first week, and then my group would come up the second week, and we'd hunt. We just kind of met each other in passing, and my buddy Carrie's like, you know, you ought to go home with Stahl. And he's like, nah, I don't want, this and that. And I'm the same way, because I'm all about, man, keep your circle small.
Yeah,
And he's the same way. And finally, we got together and hunted one day. He stayed, and we had a snow goose literally land on the blind, on the layout blind. Just shot the living heck out of the white geese and shot our limit of dark geese and everything. So then the next year we hunted like 2 or 3 days, and then more and more. And then we just ended up, his crew and my crew, we just kind of combined.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
a few people did, just stop going or whatever, and we've been doing it ever since for probably, I don't know, 12, 14 years
he
now.
stays mad at him too, huh?
Yeah.
Not as mad as
he's
you,
he's the fun guy. So we
It's
got
pretty fun.
so it's a running joke there's two trucks on the road all the time. There's the work truck and the fun truck. Mine's the work truck. I'm the one taking. They're the fun truck. They're the ones going out and making sure all the farmers are taken care of and doing. I'm always watching the birds.
Yep.
You know,
He's
I'm at
getting
the
beer
field.
for the farmers.
Oh yeah, yep. Give them,
Drink a couple
shots,
with them. Yep.
They're out there. They
It's
pull
the
the
best.
combine. They pull the combines over. They're doing all that stuff, and that's, man. We have a cool team, like a cool team, and you know how it is. When you hunt with everybody, everybody's got to not just get along. Everybody kind of has a role, right?
Yeah.
You know, and they're the fun. You know, they're the fun. Like I have fun too, but they are the fun guys. They're the ones that go out and do. You know, build the relationships with the farmers and all that. And I'm the one making sure the hunt the next day is going to be
Pristine.
as good as it could possibly be. You know?
Yeah, it's funny you say that because like me and Joey definitely have a different,
I'm a fun guy.
Yeah, Joey's fun guy.
And you know what's
But I'm very serious at the hunt.
Yeah, Joe.
Yeah,
Yeah,
100%,
yeah. Joey's very serious about hunting, but like in terms of if I need someone to just entertain some dudes, I already know he's going to do it,
Phil
like
and
without a
Tyson
question.
Yeah, Phil and Tyson. Just,
And I don't have to worry about it, so
They
it's
take
good
care
for
of
me.
it.
I'm
Yeah.
permission guy.
Yes,
I'm the one who goes up and
I
meets the
promise
guys.
you-
And
Phil's got a permission rate is higher than anybody I know.
So does Joey.
Like he'll walk up there and I'm sure they don't understand him, and he'd be like,
Oh, dude.
he'd be talking and be looking at him funny, and he's just shaking his head, like this, and he'll look over at Ty. He'd tell him Ty, and Tyson will tell him like, hey, we're fitting to hunt over here tomorrow,
Dude, Joey's the guy that if you don't get permission and then he goes, you'll be standing there with him and they'll
100%.
tell him no.
Yeah.
But you'll be leaving there with a yes. So
Yep.
like somehow
Yep.
in the middle of
Yep.
it, they'll be like, well, I don't think. And he'll be like, well, what about if? And then it's just this negotiation that he makes them get into. And then eventually we leave with permission. I'm like,
hey guys,
Oh.
I'm gonna have to go back there on Sunday with my tools and fix something on his roof.
yeah.
Oh, what?
That's
Yeah,
fine.
Yeah. No, it's.
Yeah.
Just
Hey,
drop
one
me
time
off.
we pull over to talk to this farmer, and Phil jumps out, and Phil owns a fabrication, couple of fab shops. He jumps out, and he doesn't even say anything to the guy. He's welding on his combine on the side of the field. The guy's welding on it. Hey, Phil jumps out. He taps the guy on the shoulder, grabs a welder in the hood, and starts finishing welding it. He welds up the deal, and then he starts talking to him. Yeah, guess what? We can hunt.
Hell yeah, you
everything he owns. Phil can weld. He can lay down a weld. So yeah.
I think
gosh.
I got one story, not to like brag or anything, but I was out in South Dakota with just me and my dog, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go out and jump snows. I don't care what happens. I'm going to jump snows. So I go to this place, and it's a roost, 100% a roost. And you can see all these trucks lined around this giant lake, and I'm like, what way could I get down to that roost, right? And I go and knock on this dude's door, and I knock on it, and the screen instantly falls off the hinges, and I'm like, oh shit. And I like run back to my truck, grab my drill, and I have screws in my truck, come back to the door, and the dude has the door open, and I'm like, I'm so sorry. I came up to the door, I knocked on it, fell off, so I'm just going to put it back on. And he's like, well, shit, bud, it's already been broken. He's like, well,
Yeah.
you can fix that? And I was like, yeah, I'm a contractor. I feel terrible, whatever. And I'm starting to fix it. And then we talk for like 20 minutes. And he's
Not
like,
even
"Why-
talking about hunting.
No, he's
Yeah.
like, why the fuck are you here? I'm like, oh, I was just wondering if I could walk, a mile and a half down to that lake. And he goes, well, yeah. He goes, are you going to shoot a cow? I'm like, where are your cows? He goes, not anywhere near the lake. I was like, okay. So no, I'm not going to shoot a cow. And he's like, I don't know if you'll be able to get to the lake. It's kind of frozen, but whatever. And as I'm walking down there, I hear people like honking their horns, like, don't fucking do it. It's like all these
Oh,
guides.
you thought they were telling you to, though.
Right.
Yeah.
And I just said, I don't care. I went down there with 4 boxes of shells and my dog, fell through the ice, got to the island, and every time eagles would come down, they'd spook up the snows and they'd go like this around the lake. And every time they'd make a swoop, I would just absolutely murder them.
Oh,
like,
wow.
just drop the bottom out of them. And I'm
Yeah.
like, holy shit. And my dog was so tired.
You're high-fiving yourself, and
Oh,
the horns are
I
still
shot-
going
He
up in
called
the
me
road.
right after, and he's like, "You
Yeah.
won't fucking believe what just happened."
And then you got
Shot
on the
84
internet
geese.
seeing- yeah.
No, no.
Everybody's trashing them.
No, this is well before the internet. And I shot 84 geese that day by myself. And it was the funnest shit ever. And that guy still calls me once a year. He's like, hey, man, I got more shit to fix on my house. If you want to come out here
Yeah,
and shoot
come out and
snow
shoot
geese.
some snows.
So he calls me every year and lets me know when they're using his lake as a roost, but they never left. There was like a million on that lake, and they just kept. But it's like being a contractor is the best thing ever.
Yeah.
But back to like being serious and stuff in the blind, and I get like I want to win so bad. It's not shooting the limit what I would, but I just want to win. but when you hunt with people that don't get to go a lot or are new to it, and like last year we were in Manitoba, we were hunting. I brought a buddy of mine, and he brought his daughter, and we were, it was an okay hunt, and just the look on their face, the smile, they're like, this is unbelievable. I've never seen anything like this. Is unreal. You're like, it was just all right. Yeah. No, but it puts things in perspective.
Yeah,
like the bar that we set is on an everyday hunt is probably most people's perfect hunt ever.
Well, you got to realize, right, like at the end of the day, it's just like anything. If you commit your life or you're interested in it to a degree beyond what most people are, what's possible.
Yeah.
What that good hunt really can look like.
Yeah.
And that's what you're chasing, man. I mean, and that's what you want. And that's not that you feel like you have to go out and do that every time, but you just think to yourself, if I don't do everything I can for that to happen, I'll never even know if it would have. You know what I mean? So that definitely gets you.
We just ran Joey out.
Yeah. No, he's asking me if I need a beer.
Oh, you need more. You need to grab the rack.
Yeah, I know you are.
I'm good. I'm still got,
I'll take that.
Hey, what do you think that rack scores?
Big.
Yeah.
It says 105 calories here, so
that's bigger than a 105.
I know.
I promise you.
That's a 150 to 160, right?
Yeah. That's false advertising.
That might be 180.
Yeah, that's false advertising.
Definitely.
That's thick.
Before we get back, I just want to bring up another one of our sponsors, Shawn, First Light. I don't know if you've seen any of the new First Light waterfowl stuff that's coming out.
Big Tango Free Sitka guy.
I know he is. That's why I had to tell him about it.
This guy sit here and smile.
Yeah, you have to sit there and smile while we talk about it. They have some unbelievable stuff, though, you guys. They have a rugged wool product that you definitely want to check out. It's a wool that's got 2 layers, super durable, and as Joey calls it, durable. Duro.
So hard in Spanish.
Yes.
Duro.
And you need to check it out. So go to firstlight.com and check it out. They've definitely spent way too much time making these products amazing. So we had a chance to check them out last year. We're pumped to wear it this year, so go check that out.
So, dude, with doing this for 18 plus years, right? Do you think the way that you got into the industry was just straight through contest calling?
Yeah, and that's changed.
Did someone just pick you up, or
was
what?
it on accident? Did you foresee yourself in a life in this industry?
Not growing up, no. It just happened by chance. Like a lot of us, we just kind of move around. And I was telling your wife earlier that I was had a great job, worked in the office furniture industry, manufacturing engineer, new product development, traveled around, had great life, and all of a sudden economy took a dump, and I have to burp the antler.
That's fine. Big score.
So the economy took a dump, and next thing you know, we're having a company meeting, call everybody out there and said, hey, we're closing down New Jersey, Dallas, Roswell, Georgia, and this plant, 3,400 of you. And you've got 8 weeks and then 16 weeks of severance pay. And it's like,
what year was this?
80s?
2002.
Yeah.
Oh, what? Oh.
And so at that point, you had won World.
Yeah, I'd won the World.
Yep. And so you kind of were in it a little.
I did that. I won the World. I did the instructional honker talk. Instructional deal.
It was honky tonk, right?
Honker talk.
We like to call it honky tonk, though.
Yeah. I did that, so I kind of was already dabbling in it a little bit, and working shows for Fred and Jeff and a few people, and so I was kind of had that side of it, and I was trying to decide what to do, and I already had the cameras and did the instructional deal, and I said, well, I'm gonna make a run at making DVDs. Just try it, take some risk, right? So I did that.
This is on your own.
Yeah, on my own. Just bought some cameras and not making an income, paying, self-employed insurance, bought that, all that stuff, and did that for a little while, then went to work for Avery Outdoors, started going to China, spent 56 days in China one summer. That sucked. Watched my kid turn a year old and literally watched him walk on his birthday, and the next day got on a plane and flew away for 30 days. So
damn.
That's rough because it's, that was pre-FaceTime, all that stuff. And a 1-year-old kid, they can't talk, right. So that's just in your 13-hour time difference. So days, nights, day.
Yeah.
So Avery just sent you over to China for what?
Yeah, I was doing product
development?
engineering stuff and development. Yeah. They're working on blinds and dog stands and ladders and all that stuff. So, and I just kind of kept moving through the whole deal. But contest calling, what that did, back to your deal, is it kind of opened the door to people knowing who you were. Now today you've got social media to do that. You don't need that, that deal.
Do you think that's backwards? Social media thing? Like, do you think you need to be a world champion in order for...
I don't think so. I just think you need to be skilled at your craft and presentable and likable.
And give a shit.
Yeah, and care about what's going on. Right, right. But, so, yeah, I forget what we were talking about. You gave me too many hours.
you were talking about...
we were just talking about if contest calling is what really got you into it.
So back to that is, I still think, even though you're presentable on camera and doing all this stuff, even with social media today, you still have to have other skills.
Yeah.
To fall back on. Right. You can't. This hunting working in the hunting industry isn't all about going hunting every day.
Right.
And that's what everybody sees that thing, and then people ask, what do I need to do? What do I need to do? Well, you got to have some skills. What are you going to have? Whether it's in marketing, accounting, whatever it is that you're a pretty face, whatever, can talk on camera. You got to have some skills to be able to fall back on. You can't just be a contest caller and sound good on a goose call to be able to make it in this industry.
It was pretty lucky that you went to college for what you went for, and you had experience before.
No, I
becoming
I didn't even
champion.
go to school for that. I went to school for something else and it was totally, yeah.
But that worked out really well.
Yeah, it does. It's just life. I mean,
yeah.
I
mean, that seems pretty, I don't know if the right word is fortuitous, but it seems like pretty apropos, honestly. It's just like, oh, I'm doing product engineering, mechanical engineering, and now I'm helping make products for waterfowl. Yeah. It's pretty...
Yeah, at one point I was, helping design, like, office furniture, how to put it together, and tooling, and doing facility layouts, airdrops, and electrical for 290,000 square foot facility, and now I'm blowing a goose call.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you find that side of the industry of, like, doing R&D and making new products, is that, like, exciting? Because I know you did a lot on the Tango free blind, on, like, the panel blind, and then you also made those braces to hold them for, like, high wind shit. So, like, does that excite you, or do you feel...
I'm always about making something better tomorrow that you did today. So whether it's the tomorrow's hunt or the gear we use, any of that stuff, I'm never satisfied with what we have.
Right.
Right. I always want something better. And so, that excites me. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I feel like there's so many products that we could vamp up in this industry. It's like, why do we not, though we could vamp up like so many products?
Revamp, do something different.
Yeah.
Is that a money thing, or is it, because if you think about how
it comes down to cost and what you have put in it. It's also trying to get somebody to back you. And I've taken products to companies that I've designed that I don't want to, it's going to cost too much, or nobody will like it. And then 2 years later, you see 2 companies out there making it.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Yeah, that's a whole different.
Because I feel with waterfowl, especially like back in the day, we made a joke on it on like a previous podcast, like the old spinner decoys, right? Like, when are you going to use them? You're going to use them in the water. Should we make them waterproof? No. No, let's not make them waterproof.
There's a lot of room for development. Some of that is built-in obsolescence too, right? Like
let's make them buy more.
You're going to buy another one next year,
right?
Exactly. They want to keep making money. But
have you seen a lot of that in waterfowl, especially?
I've seen it, and I've also seen there's a lot of I thought going from corporate world to the outdoor world, there was going to be less politics. There's just as much politics involved in what kind of products are on the market, what gets put on the store shelves, who's paying for the advertising, doing all this stuff. There's so many good products that so as we were talking earlier, your network is your net worth. And there's good products that never even make it, and there's horrible products that people push that make no difference or make hunting or harder or worse.
What do you think is the most revolutionary waterfowl product that we've had? Like, what changed the game the most?
100% the spinning wing decoy. Yeah. 100%. That's just made everybody, it put everybody more on a level playing field, right? For the majority, especially the further north you are.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, because they've never seen it.
Right.
Those fresh ducks have never seen it.
When we're waterfowl hunting, just think about it. We think we're all great hunters and we can do all this and that. We really only kill the dumb ones,
right?
The young ones. So when we have a bad hatch, hunting's tough. and it's back to square one and back to the drawing board. So
Yeah.
It's like every October in Minnesota here. We call it the October lull. It it humbles the shit out of me. It's like, oh, there's 200 geese in that field. I'm going to go hunt them.
No.
None of them come back. Why?
Yeah.
The wind conditions were the same, overcast, whatever, and they're gone.
That's changed too. Like back, in the early season, 15, 20 years ago, it was just a given. They were going to be back there the next day. No, it's different now. And some of that's pressure, I think. And some of that's just when the hardest birds to hunt anywhere, period, anywhere. Where are they?
In town.
They're your local birds.
Yeah.
Your local birds.
High school baseball field.
Well, but your local bird, your local birds, yours, mine, those are always the toughest birds to hunt. Anytime they come into an area or they're born in an area and they get acclimated to the area and they know where the food source is, they know where safe is, they are the hardest birds to hunt.
Yeah.
Because they already know where they're going. They're not reacting to call. They're doing their own deal. And the only way to shoot them is new birds come in. They're not imprinted. They join in. They're not imprinted. They make them do stupid things, or you get some sort of weather. Some sort of a factor.
Yeah,
in your
that
favor.
makes them do something.
Mm-hmm.
What's the
Survival.
hardest place that you've hunted? Like, what's the most difficult place you've been?
My Allegan County birds back home. I mean, it's just because we tend to fall into, as hunters, we start doing the same thing over and over. We have tendencies
Yeah.
that we do things over and over. We don't think out of the box and we don't do things different. Like everybody back home back in the day would have, now they have 5 silhouettes and an A-frame in the back of their tree. So the geese see the same thing. The geese fly out off their, out of town or whatever. What do? First thing you do, what do? Call or flag, right? One of the two things, right? That's what they see in here. So every day they're condition smart. They see the same spread. They see the same blinds. They hear the same calling. They do all that. So that's why they're smart.
Yeah.
It's not like they're book smart, but
So to combat that, you got to do something
you
completely
got to
different.
come out of the box. Yeah.
Yeah.
Put your call in your pocket. Let them fly by. Go smaller spread, bigger spread, what everybody else, do whatever. My whole deal, I grew up hunting public, and literally you're around basically a 1 mile square, 1 mile by 1 mile by 1
Yeah.
mile. And you would draw a zone in that zone, and there may be 8 to 11 other groups of hunters in that same field.
Ooh.
You're literally down a corn row that goes a half mile long on the north side of the road and a half mile long on the other side of the road. And there's 8 to 11 spreads in that field, and literally you're in a zone that's 100 yards wide. And you could butt up to the one side and they could butt up to the other. So you had to play the wind and you had to do different things. It's just,
You
That's
kind
insane.
of just gave me an epiphany because
what'd you say about Tiffany?
she's hot.
Yeah.
Tiffany's really
They are.
hot.
They're crazy though. You saw the Matrix.
Tiffany, Brittany,
Yeah. Yep.
Trixie.
Yep. Hairdressers.
My mom is a hairdresser. That's amazing, and she is fucking nuts. So that's incredible. No, I always thought like cows die. So we, as I'm like traveling around, people are like the best goose hunters live in Minnesota. And if you can
There's
kill
a lot
goose,
of good goose hunters. Good, but I will
If you
say
can-
Minnesota is like the new Southern Illinois.
Right.
It's like the hotbed. You have kind of a best of both worlds here. You're still far enough north that you get the migrating birds pass through, but you also have a really large population of resident birds.
Yeah.
So you have that good early season beginning. Then you get the molts from them resident birds coming in.
The molts are
then you get
key.
the migrants come in. You've got it's pretty much the new frontier, I guess. It's the new Southern Illinois. So that it's pretty special here.
Minnesota is fun, but our duck hunting is getting worse. That's what sucks. So like we're taking away so much habitat because Minnesota is being developed so much. Like just the shit that I hunted 10 years ago, you can't hunt it anymore.
Urban sprawl, but you look at that. Like, just look at population trends. I mean, there's from the time I was born till now, there's 150 million more people. There's 200 million then. There's 150 million more. There's 350 million people here.
Right.
This is urban sprawl. I mean, a lot of these subdivisions didn't exist, but in some ways they help too. It's just evolution.
They hold birds
They
longer.
hold birds. Every one of these subdivisions digs a pond to be able to backfill around these houses and raise them up. They got a pond out there, so that's holding birds. And that's what's made the upper Midwest, Michigan, Wisconsin, Minnesota, really good waterfowl, but mostly goose hunting.
Yeah.
More than the ducks.
But my epiphany I was going to tell you is what I've noticed is when I travel and hunt geese somewhere, we always do much, much better.
Yeah.
And I think it's because we're doing what's different than what everyone in that area is doing.
100%.
And I've never thought of it like that.
So the first
That's
thing when I come into a town, I want to know, local knowledge is always key. You got to have local knowledge. Like,
they only come out past 9.
What's working? What are you doing? That's what I always ask. What are you doing? What are they doing? Because everybody, when you show in a town, they're like, "Hey man, we're gonna kill the crap out of them. We've been having trouble, but you're here." And I'm like, "What do you think I'm gonna do any different than you are?" But let's break this down. Let's think about this. Let's figure this process out. What have you been doing? What's been working? What hasn't been working? What do I know how to do? How can we apply this and make a plan and go in there? Let's just not show up in the morning and do what we've been doing. Let's figure this out.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. It's interesting because every year we get told that there's less and less people that are hunting waterfowl in this country. But every time I go to the fucking boat launch, there's more and more dudes at the boat launch. So what's up with
Lee
that?
Jost and I were talking about that today in the booth. There are, I mean, the numbers are real. There are less hunters now, but it used to be 80% of the waterfowl were harvested by 20% of the hunters. It's not in the people that are still into hunting today are hardcore. The vast majority of them. It's not the 20% that are hardcore out of all. It is everybody's hardcore. Everybody's got a trailer. When I first started hunting public around my house, I bought a 6x14 tandem axle trailer, and I pulled that thing in there, and everybody's looking at me like, what?
Nobody had them.
There's what in the hell? And there was a couple of people that would convert a boat trailer over and put like a 4x8 box on it and put, like 6 dozen Super Mag shells in there. But I had this sucker full of Bigfoot decoys, and I go plop that sucker out there, and I'd fill it up with Bigfoots and outlaws and outlaw silhouettes and calling that happy. Nobody could call on a happy. They were all using the big rivers,
flutes,
and those old Heronkers, and they weren't. And they'd be halfway across the refuge, and I just start in on them, and they right in, because I was different. But now you go there, and everybody's got a freaking trailer. Everybody's got a trailer, and it's full of stuff. So what do you got to do? You got to do something, be different, and that's. I'm always looking for the next level or the next avenue or something. That's why I bought a boat a couple years ago. Everybody,
you're always fixing.
I break stuff a lot.
Yeah, between your truck, your boat, your trailers, you should be just a mechanic.
Well, I keep them in business.
Yeah.
You're supporting small business
welders lately, but so I'm always looking. When COVID hit, every kid was out of school.
Yep.
Great.
Everyone went hard, and
they went at it, baby. Yeah, everybody went at it, and they all had their silhouettes in the back, and they were all throwing it out there every day during the weekdays when I was really trying to make hay during the weekdays, right?
Right.
No, so I bought the boat to try to be different, try to do something different.
Yeah.
And try to change, try to become a better waterfowler, get set in your ways, hunting field, and do this. And I like to think we're pretty decent at what we do in the field, and this water hunting's humbling, man. It's different, but I want to learn it. I want to learn it to be different. Because everybody else is in the fields. It's getting harder to get permission anymore.
Yeah.
And our resources getting more limited. More of these subdivisions come out. More
less and less fields.
More of these cities incorporate.
It's zoned different
It's zoned. Like some of these fields around here are probably in city limits that you can't hunt. And that's the way it was around Chicago, too, when I was guiding there. And they don't have to come out. So you got to think about different ways, to be successful.
I've heard a lot of guys in like city limits where there's still like fields for some reason, they will go out the morning that they want to hunt and they will park a trailer in that field.
We've done that.
They'll do like shit and they will like push them out of there. And so when they're being lost puppies, they'll be like, oh, there's geese here. I'm going to land there. And I'm like, damn, someone told me that like 12 years ago. They put like scarecrow with like orange ribbons.
So we've done that. We've done that like big fields, big fields. We've done, we've pie plated field, and done stuff.
So I don't mean to cut you off, Shawn, but I want to talk about our last podcast sponsor for the night, and it's SoundGear. I don't know if you've ever heard of SoundGear, but it's custom hearing protection, and it is seriously unbelievable. It is Bluetooth. It is rechargeable, so you don't have to put little batteries in those tiny little doors. You can connect your phone to it, and it's kind of like your AirPods where you charge the case, and then you can keep putting your...
Cool. Are you deaf, or do you use hearing protection?
I can't hear.
Yo, you have hearing aids.
Both, yeah.
Yeah, so you're deaf instead.
Yeah, too many shotguns.
Right. Yeah. Well, and so would you suggest that people my age, 30 and younger?
That's one of my top things for anybody getting into it. Protect your hearing because you'll never get it back. No matter what, you go to the doctor and get hearing aids, it's not the same.
Do you have tinnitus?
Yeah.
Rings?
Whoa.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Damn. Does it kind of drive you nuts?
Yeah. What's that?
Does it kind of drive you nuts?
You get used to it, huh?
Was that a joke?
Huh?
Was
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
Fuck it.
You don't know where it's
That
coming
was
from, do you?
so
right?
perfect.
Yeah.
Well, I grew up shooting a lot of guns, handguns, ARs, and shotguns, of course. And ARs and pistols really hurt my ears, where it was like, wow, I need to wear muffs or something. And then as like the last 4 or 5 years, I really started to notice when you get rung, it's like, ouch, like ported chokes right next to your head. It's like, dude,
He is a muff kind of guy, isn't he?
Big time.
big muff guy.
Yeah.
Big fucking
I
muff guy.
dive.
I knew that.
I dive.
Yeah, I could see it.
So go to soundgear.com. You can actually also use our discount code. We're going to let Joey give a crack at it.
MF 125.
He just called Joey a crack addict.
Yeah, I did.
Unbelievable. MF 125.
That's how you know his hearing's good.
Yeah.
Get $125 off of their instant fits, their lowest level hearing protection. They look like little orange earplugs, but
I'm almost crying.
dude, but give it a second,
Yeah.
Hey, we asked you earlier, what's the craziest thing that's ever happened to you hunting? Or can you tell us a crazy story from hunting?
Nope.
Damn.
Nope.
That's it, huh?
Nope. There's a lot. We had one guy come out and try to cut wood behind us, and had to call the game wardens. Had like 4 game wardens out there, half the crew's behind us, and
Like
the
hunter
country-
harassment.
Yeah, well, it's 100% hunter harassment. Well,
Right.
and then his son went around us and was wearing hunter's orange in the woods to the south of us. And every time a flock of geese would come over, he'd shoot. And then the old man would be behind us and start banging his bucket. Said he was out there cutting wood. He's just cutting little saplings and got oh man, it was
There's a whole deal.
it was a whole deal. And we're
So did he
sitting
get
out there the
charged?
whole time this is going. Half the crew's up there yelling at this guy with the game wardens. And there's like 3 or 4 of us that we'd shoot our limit, and then we'd take turns. We'd go up there and give this old man crap. And
Yeah.
then the other group come in there. Yeah. Yeah.
He was big mad by the end of it.
Oh,
huh?
he looked like Elmer Fudd, too. He had the same hat and everything. Yeah.
flat
Oh,
bill.
100%. Yep.
Was he pissed because he wanted to hunt it, or was he just pissed that you were there in general?
Just because we were there in general.
Yeah.
Some people just, I got a really good one.
Yes.
This leads me into, so we're in Ontario, and have you ever hunted a golf course?
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
me, Joey is.
It feels weird.
Feels unacceptable.
Like you're not supposed to be doing it.
You're
So
gonna get
we're
in
over there.
trouble.
We're over there in Ontario, and I've got Bob Elferry from GK Calls, Ron Latchaw, who designed Final Approach layout blinds and all that, and myself and my buddy. So there's 4 of us. It's a 27-hole golf course. It's kind of misty, rainy, whatever. This car, we're shooting birds, and it's just weird because like we had no blinds. We're with the blind man, Ron Latchaw. We have no blinds. We're hiding behind these pine trees, and the birds would come, and we just kind of shimmy around them. If they'd circle, we circle. Just complete 180 of the thing. So we're doing this. We're shooting birds. We've got a spinner, a duck spinner on the tee box behind us. We shoot a couple black ducks, come into the spinner on the, so that's just weird. This car keeps going by slow on the road, just back and forth, slow on the road, just stop. What's going on? I mean, you get people watch you, whatever. Next thing you know, the OPP pulls into the caretaker's house. Up
What is
front.
that? OPP?
Police, provincial police, right?
Yep. Other people's.
That's what I was.
That's right.
Yeah.
You
That's
know what OPP? Yeah, you know me.
But no, so the OPP pulls in there. Next thing you know, on the loudspeaker, hunters, please report to the road. We're like, huh? Hunters, please report to the road. My buddy's from Ontario. He's like, I got this. So he goes up there and he starts dealing with this lady cop. And she's like, you're not supposed to be here, and you're shooting Canada's national bird. This is the cop. You're shooting Canada. We got called on by this gawker on the road, said we were shooting Canada's national bird.
Which is what?
I have no idea, but it's not a Canada goose. So
Or a black duck.
or a black duck, yeah. So you're shooting Canada's national bird. You're not supposed to be out here, da da da. So then the caretaker's wife comes out there, and then 2 more OPP officers, male officers, pull in, and going back and forth. They're out there hunting. They're like, yeah, the caretakers. She's like, we invited them out here. It's 27-hole course. We shut down 9 holes. 18 are still open for members. We have a very bad problem. They're invited here to help us take care of these get these geese off here. They leave a mess. It causes a big problem. Blah 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 blah. And they wanted to see all our and at the time you had to have all your guns individually registered and all that stuff. They wanted to see all that. And finally the two cops are like, girl, get out of here.
Oh,
and they
really?
they told their OPP, just get out of here. One thing about hunting in Ontario, you get one or the other. It's highly conservative or very liberal.
Yeah.
And we got the very liberal one at first.
Yeah.
Yeah. But most of the time I've had interactions with police have been in Ontario. Another time in Ontario, we get done hunting and it's the field sat way back in, so we had to four-wheeler the trailer in. And so you had to go down the laneway and go across this ditch, get into the field. And then a couple of us had waders on, so we could cut across the field, go through the ditch.
Right.
A couple of us didn't have waders, so they had to walk and follow the trailer, but they were way behind the trailer. Same deal. Getting towards dark, hunters or police report, well, whatever. Well, shooting time there in Canada is a half hour after, and after sunset. And that's when it really gets good, right? So we're like, oh, that's so-and-so, the scout, messing with us now. And so we go up there, and the first one to get there is the trailer. Then me and my other buddy and waders, and then the other crew. Well, this cop up there thinks we're trying to surround him. It's starting to get dark.
Oh shit!
He's freaking out. He's got a hold of his gun. My camera guy's running his mouth and just being belligerent about things. And he's trying to tell us that we got the police were called on us because we were raining pellets on this lady's house. And we're like, where is this house? And he said, it's on the other side of the section. And we're like, that's literally a mile away. There's the physics of steel shot with the right trajectory and the right atmosphere is about 220 yards. Yeah. If you're pointing just right with the right wind and the right atmosphere, 220 yards. There's no physical way. And my camera guy's trying to argue with this guy, and he's threatening to throw him in jail.
Oh my God!
It went.
Got off the rails.
Oh, it got off the rails, but we righted the ship a little bit and got out of that one. But yeah, that was some pretty hairy stuff for a little while. Yeah. I should have let that little guy go to jail.
Just go have to get him.
I don't think Skeeter would have done well in jail.
Canada jail though.
Yeah, well, that's true.
I was just gonna say Canadian.
Yeah.
What are you in for, eh?
Oh yeah.
Oh shit, bud.
Oh, we were hunting, bud.
Oh, you're in trouble, eh?
Yeah.
Oh God.
Come here, little guy.
You're not even wearing your tool, okay?
How about
mind
you
hanging
sleep on
on
the
a
bottom
jump? Who do you feel like, if you had to name a couple of people, who'd you learn the most from in terms of hunting? Like, who have you just soaked it in from? I mean, I'm sure there's people too that may have done one thing that made you think about everything differently.
I probably wouldn't look up to any one person. But multiple people for little things. I try to take something little out of everybody, from, my dad's friend taking me hunting when I was little to hunting with Tim Grounds and, in Mexico. And just, I try to take little pieces from it, just different people. I wouldn't say any one person. Two biggest influences in my calling career would have been Shawn Mann and Tim Grounds, but just taking the most advice and anything, probably nobody really in particular. Just a lot of people that made up the whole.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That's not the answer you were looking for, I know.
It's all right.
No, it was a bad answer.
I know.
Yeah. All right, so if you had to just right now dream up a hunting situation, your perfect hunt, you could go on one more hunt in your lifetime. Just set the scene for me. Where are you? Is it water? Is it a field? What are you hunting?
Probably Manitoba. Hunting the Hutterite colony with my close friends. I mean, really, it location because of people.
Yeah.
Yeah, more than anything. It's probably too vague for you, isn't it?
No, it's fine. I mean, what kind of birds? What birds?
I'm going goose hunting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In a field.
I'm kind of known as the goose guy at RNT, but I grew up probably like you guys did in the middle. I mean, I shot divers. I shot whatever you could get your hands at. But,
100%.
Yeah, but I really like fooling big honkers.
Yeah.
That's kind of my game.
Manitoba big honkers.
Yep. Shoot them.
Crappy weather.
Shoot them before they get to Minnesota and they educate them.
Yeah.
Yep. No, it's real.
It really is.
Yeah.
Oh, that is real. We were talking before the podcast about how you'll shoot anything. Like, you like shooting divers and whatever. Mm-hmm. So, you're obviously a person where a lot of people are like, hey, come hunt with me. You should come here. You should do that. What sets apart, an invite, for you to like go on a hunt where it's like, oh, I'm intrigued, I actually really want to do that? Is it something that you've never done, or is it the area, or is it the species?
So every year I try to do a new places, new faces type of deal. We try to stick in our core competency, what we know how to do, go out there and get it done. But I like to see new places around North America, and I like to meet new people. We went to New Brunswick a few years ago. That was one of the coolest places. I've got a big cool list. But when you go hunt, like at the foothills of the Appalachian Trail, and you're hunting in mountains, and when you go scouting, you got to go, you see birds, but the only way to get to them is you got to go all the way around the mountain and find them again. It's pretty cool. And when you're set up in a field and they're like, geese, 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 and you're like looking up and like, no, down. You're like looking down at them flying across. That's really, really cool. So I like new places and new faces. I like to mix it in.
Yeah.
But
is there anywhere you just go back pretty much every year, every other year? Like you're always
a few places, but there's got to be, for filming wise, I would love to go back to certain places just because of the people.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the places we go that I go hunting have more to do with the people than the actual quality of the hunt. So there's place that where we go in Manitoba, it's not really that great. What makes it great is the people that are there and the opportunities that we have. As far as getting, the relationships and getting on fields, we can hunt less birds, but we have a better opportunity getting on the fields and having access to them. And then the after deal, what we do, hanging out with them.
You sleep that trip first night?
What's that?
You sleep on that trip first
night?
Oh,
hell no. Probably don't sleep the whole trip, really, because...
Really?
Oh, yeah.
You're that intense about it?
Well, there's just so much to do, man. You want to see everybody, visit everybody, and then get, hunt, and then you got to scout, and you got to clean birds and process them, and then you got to scout, and then go see people, and then have dinner with them, and you can sleep when you're dead.
How many days are you on the road?
From about mid-July to mid-February, kind of wraps up around NWTF. I'm probably gone over 50% of the time, probably close to 60%. And that's the other thing that, people, when they want to work in the industry, they want to do this, they see, because they see what you do on,
it's a cool film.
It's the emails, it's the phone calls, it's being away from home, sleeping in different hotels, not seeing your family and doing it. And that's why when people say, do you hunt when you're at home? Not a lot. Because I have other responsibilities.
Yeah.
I've got to be a husband. I got to be a father. I got to fix all the stuff that broke while I was gone. And you got to see people family members and stuff. You just don't have a lot of time. Plus, you got to get caught up on office stuff and organize the footage and emails and calling sponsors and doing all that behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah. So in terms of just going out and producing that stuff, were you like, here's what we kind of want to make, and then you're coming back and you're helping organize the entire thing of how it looks, or is it just more like you got people that are kind of working on all that? Or
we've got a really good editor now,
Matt
Barnett at Slate and Glass. He does a tremendous job. He really gets us and the personalities and does a really good job. What's that?
Knows what you want.
Yeah, and a really good job. The first couple of years working with him, it's like, okay, no, change it. And now when he does something, we'll give him an outline, and going in, like I said earlier, going into a show, now we know what our primary focus is. Like this year, I've got my old dog, Carl, with a K. He's a field champion. He's 10 and a half years old going into this. I want to do a show just on him.
Yeah.
Because this is probably as realistically as last year. So we know going into that, okay, ahead of time, what kind of stuff we need to film. My camera guy, we've got two camera guys. One of them focus on Carl. This is about him. We know that we got to, film X number of interviews. We got to do all this stuff. Wrap it all up, get it all done for that trip. Then you don't have to go back and piece anything back together. It's all done. We can hand it off to him, give the editor an outline of it, and what he produces is what I had in my head is better, exponentially better.
Yeah.
He's just gotten that good at it. And
it's that relationship, man.
It's really, and surrounding yourself with good people.
Yeah.
Right. And we talked about that earlier. I had this talk with Joe Hines out in Montana. Your circle, man, it's what you got. And make your circle, make sure that everybody's, that you trust everybody, keep your circle small, and make sure everybody has a part and can do their job 100%. And if they can't, move on.
Yeah. No, it's crazy you said that, because I literally just did a 10-minute Tuesday.
On who you hunt with.
On are you hunting with the right people? Mm-hmm.
Everybody in our group has a function. We've alluded to that earlier. We've got the fun truck, we got the work truck, we've got guys that are good at setting blinds, guys that are good at scouting, good guys that are good at getting permission, guys that are good talking to landowners and being and fun to be around and entertaining. Everybody has got to fit in and have a role. Otherwise, and you don't need a bunch of chiefs and you don't need a bunch of Indians. And conflict is good. There's conflict in our group. Like, I want people to challenge me. Like, my job is, figuring out how to make, when we step in the field, how to make that a successful deal. That's my job. And I want people, like, I might get stale in my mindset. So I want people in my group to be strong enough mentally to be able to challenge me and come in, because I can be a little bit intimidating, because I'm going to do it this way. I know what works. And Tyson will come at me all the time. Like, hey, let's hunt out in the middle of the field. No, it won't work, because I did it 10 years ago and they started getting smart. Well, that was 10 years ago. And it's all about revolution, not evolution. The things that work today work, 20 years ago. And then it just kind of goes in a circle. So, go back and just challenge that mindset and it makes us collectively and it's a team, right? It makes us better, and we all get along. We know that we all have common interests and goals in this. We all want the best hunt possible. It's not like he's just being a jerk or I'm being a jerk and setting my ways. It's just, and it's constructive, and we get in these little battles, and we're starting to show more of that on TV.
Yeah. The real
stuff. Yeah. Not just the, shooting the birds, cluck, cluck, boom kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's one thing people always tell me and Joey that they like, because me and Joey are basically brothers. We grew up together.
We've known each other since we were 5.
Yeah. We challenge each other all the time, on camera and everything.
100%. Like, our group isn't blood, but we're better than blood.
Yeah.
We're
chosen
tight.
family.
Yep. We are a family.
Yep. Yeah, it's pretty cool, man.
I guess, like, the last question I had for you, Shawn, is if you were to give advice to this generation of, like, new hunters and people who have only grown up with, like, social media hunting, I kind of feel like I know what your answer is. Because Cal...
Tell me what my answer is.
Well, it's like, what is your advice to these young hunters? I think your advice is don't focus on social media. Go out there and actually enjoy it.
Why are you out here? Why are you? What's the real reason you're out here in the field? Are you out here to enjoy the sunrise, fool the birds, have a good, clean fun?
Yeah.
Are you out there for that, or are you out there is this a business move for you to move on to another step?
If Instagram was gone, would you still be out there?
Would you still be out here? And I fear that, with social media, if social media ended tomorrow, how many of these hunters would still be here?
We'd lose a lot, probably.
We would lose a lot of and
lose a lot.
And we have strength in numbers. We have voting power with numbers. So we need these hunters. We need to keep them active and whatnot. I might not agree with why they're out there, but I appreciate the fact that they are still out there. And I hope that just even a small percentage of them will remain hunters throughout the rest of their life.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's like
because that's the important thing. Like, like my son he'll go hunting with me, but he's not a big hunter because I don't hunt at home much, right? That's partly my fault. But he understands what I do, and he's never going to vote against it, and that's important.
Yeah,
because we need those votes.
100%. We do.
Sure.
Bad.
Well, like, we've been running this social media company this is our 7th year, right? And we got to the point where Connor, the guy who was doing a lot of our filming, was like, "Hey, I can't be there as much. Joey, you need to wear a GoPro on your head. Every time you're hunting, you need to film it." And they would constantly get on my case, and I'm like, guys, it's just not the time to do that. Like, I don't want to shove a camera in someone else's face. I don't want to take away from the actual like act of hunting, because now I'm not enjoying myself because I'm in this weird spot. And so that's like a fight that we had in our company where it's like it's not genuine anymore, and it's now a job.
It becomes a job, and that's where I was going with this earlier. It becomes a grind, and I hate saying a grind. I hate it when people say this is a grind, because if it's a grind, why are you doing it?
It's not a passion.
It should be fun. It should be a passion. And when you turn a passion into a job, it becomes a job, but you still have to keep that fire lit. And I do things outside of that old mantra. Zink used to call it the 24/7. We live at 24/7. You cannot live waterfowling 24/7. You will dry up and you will hate it. You have to have other. That's why I do other things in the outdoors. Like I turkey hunt in the fall. That's my time.
Quite a bit, don't you?
I fish during as much as I can because it's my out. That's my charger. That's my battery charger. That's what gives me the fuel to be able to be mad at them in the fall and get up and laugh and not be just so grumpy.
It's unbelievable to hear you say that too, because we had a point, like a couple of years ago where like I didn't even know if I wanted to keep doing this. So I was gone for like 2 weeks and these guys did everything and I was completely out of it. And at that 2-week break, what I realized was the whole thing we started this for is not the reason we were doing the stuff we were doing. And when I came back, we all kind of had this big, I think, powwow epiphany where we were just like, screw all that. Let's just do what we want to do. Let's have fun. Like, let's enjoy it. And if we're not enjoying it, let's press pause and delete that and get rid of it and stop doing that. Like, it's not worth it. For Joey and I, too, it's like the golf, right? Or the fishing or the, whatever it is that we have different hobbies. And it's just, you got to occupy yourself so that
before I really got into the waterfowl industry, I fished like 5 to 6 days a week. I would golf 2 to 3 times a week. I played on a adult hockey league once or twice a week. I did all that stuff. Then all of a sudden I work in the outdoor and I don't have time to do any of it. You're traveling, you can't get on a team because you're not there, or you're too tired. You lose all that, and that's all the stuff that made hunting fun, is that it didn't consume everything.
Yeah. So. No, it's awesome too, and I think we're in a way better place of understanding with all that, because like we had a meeting last night, and Joey had to leave the meeting because he's going to golf league, and I think a lot of people will be
I was on the Google Meet. And I was like, had to keep putting my camera off and put them on mute while I was hitting the ball. And the people I was golfing with were like, "Fuck you." Get off the damn phone.
you gotta have fun.
A lot of people, in that situation would be, I've heard people be like, "Well, Joey's at golf league, and you're, editing." It's like, dude, but I know he needs to go to golf league.
I'll kill it.
He doesn't do it. Like, we won't have any fun.
And I think it makes you. Well, you're happy, but it makes you a better hunter in the field if you're more rounded and you're fresh.
Yeah,
like. You're just more like I feel like I can take something from fishing and apply it to hunting, or I can take something 100%. From hunting and apply like smallmouth fishing with live scope and learning to scout, and find and figure out why are they moving here, why are they doing this, why are they roosting here, why are they feeding here, smallmouth, why are they moving, all that stuff. I start applying that and it makes you sharper out 100%. In the field, because I used to always, I still believe this, the more days you hunt, the sharper you are in the field, the more attuned you are to Mother Nature and what's going on. And if you're only going hunting 6 to 10 times just to go filming, you're not as sharp as you are. You're not reading the birds. You're not reacting. You're not putting the spread out the way you should. So that's why I think it's important to have those batteries charged and do those other things to keep you sharp in the off season.
Yeah, it makes you more pumped about it when you come back to it. Yep.
Well, and nature is nature. So like, nature kind of moves along a certain current, so like you were saying with smallmouth, where
this is so deep.
I know, but it's just like the fish are moving because of this, and if you apply that to hunting, it's like, I can understand that. So the more that you involve yourself in the outdoors,
well, and like one of my things I hate hunting the most is in the fog, because I can't see them. Right, I can't see them, and that was always the hard part with fishing, is you couldn't see them.
Yeah.
Now with live scope, I can see them.
Yeah,
and it's not like that like you're going to catch every fish. It's that live scope's pretty damn cool.
Golly, the money on these boats now.
Let's say I'm like, yeah, 4 graphs. Yeah, growing up, I had an old Shakespeare trolling motor.
Yeah,
and it had reverse, right?
Ooh,
you had to turn it 180 and pace it the other way. That's how you had reverse.
That's nice.
I went from that, an old Johnson 2.5 outboard on a 12-foot flat bottom. Now I got a 20-foot. I got a 20-foot boat that I can put a duck blind on an express boat. I got 4 graphs on the thing. I got 4
got a TV screen.
I got 4 transducers, a trolling motor.
Good God.
3 lithium batteries. It's like, you don't need all that, but
it helps.
I do. I do, because I want to be the best. I want it all. I want to figure it out. I want to do what's going on. But fishing with that live scope has kind of helped me transition fishing more into hunting and being able to follow and figure out where they're migrating, where their corridors are, all this, to pick them off,
the current of the nature.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Nature. I'm a firm believer that a good duck hunter is a good deer hunter, is a good fisherman. It's all applying the process
Yeah, and I think that's a lot of that's probably just commitment. Like you said, you wanting to be.
Well, it's just, I mean, it's nature. It's a current. What did you say? A current. It's a current.
Yeah.
The vibrations, bro.
Yeah.
Everything's got its own vibe.
I can feel it.
Man.
So, last question for you before we wrap up, because you're known as the Goose Guy at RNT, and I didn't get to ask you any questions about RNT. Maybe next year, right?
Whenever.
But
3 years probably from
why geese?
He's on probation for a couple of years, so
right, true. Write that down. So why geese more so than ducks?
Yeah,
like what about it gets you more horny?
It really doesn't. I don't know. I mean, I'm an opportunist waterfowler because I come from the Midwest.
Whatever you have.
Yeah, like the first two ducks I ever shot, or first duck I ever shot by myself hunting at 14 was a green-winged teal. I mean, and that year I also shot bufflehead. I didn't shoot a goose until I was probably 2 years later. So I'm an opportunist waterfowl wherever we're at, whatever best option is. I like Canada goose hunting because you can make them do things. You can make them react. You can
fool them.
You can fool them. You can talk them into giving up, as my buddy Jim Ronquist said. You can talk them into giving up. Mallards are that way too. We just don't. Where I'm from, we don't have enough mallards to deal with. We got more geese.
You don't have the nostalgia.
Yeah.
The sentiment for it.
No, I mean, I do like shooting mallards. Don't get me wrong, but
Canada geese, where it's at.
It's just kind of what I grew up on. What I know.
So like my thing is, grew up Canada goose hunting all the time, loved it, but there's something about small water and ducks and the way they just. When you can like really fool them,
make them break their neck and drop away.
Give it up, dude.
Mm-hmm.
And I just can never get out.
They do that muscle man at wingtip.
Oh yeah, we call it holding pumpkins. And it's just there's something about a mallard just dumping into your spread, and you shoot them right before their toenail touches the water. God, I just can't get over.
It's all. I mean, it's but you can widgeon, canvasbacks. It's all cool. You can make scenarios for all that, and it'd still get me up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I'll get up for it.
We got this hunt right here in the middle, and it was so foggy that morning, couldn't see shit. We couldn't even find the place that I've hunted 100 times.
It's like 20 degrees, super icy.
It was like October, like late October, so all the divers are starting to come down. And my buddy Gavin was like, Gavin.
Oh yeah.
And he's
never
like,
cuts his grass.
Right. It never cuts his grass. Has terrible parties. The whole shooting match. He's like, I've never.
But we
shot
still love him.
Yeah. I mean, it's debatable, subjective.
Oh, I love him.
But he's like, I've never shot a canvasback. I was like, we got to go to this lake, And we're like around this point in such a weird fashion where when these canvasbacks dumped into our spread through the fog, he couldn't shoot at them. And there was 40. You could hear their wings just, and it was just the most ridiculous shit I've ever felt. And I'm like I've shot a lot of birds, but still, when I think of that moment, I'm like, oh my God. And I just pick up the gun. He's like, fuck, I can't shoot him. And I'm like, I'll shoot yours for you.
But so we don't, I don't remember the 15-minute pile hunts.
Right.
I remember stuff like that. That's the stuff that makes memories. That's the stuff that we need to focus on. And I say this all the time, piles should not make smiles.
Yeah, 100%.
Piles should not make smiles. So
if that's the only thing that makes you smile, it's going to suck being a waterfowler.
Some of the best hunts I've had have been way less than a limit.
Oh yeah.
And the ones that I remember the most were way less that just bad stuff happened. My dog
100%.
crapped in my seat or, something, we got stuck or something,
Oh man, this is great too. I was in Texas 2 years ago, and I was with Russ and Morgan at Dry Creek, and there was like 10 dudes that had come. They were being guided. We were having a rough morning. I think we had shot one goose, but the guy had brought his dog. So in this hunt, the cattle that were like way at the other end of this field, they were slowly inching closer and closer and closer. And partway through the hunt, this guy's inexperienced, untrained dog gets up, goes, retrieves the one goose that we shoot, and then holding this goose in his mouth, chased a cattle for about 3 miles, and we were all running after this dog and kept the goose in his mouth for like 15 minutes chasing this cattle around. And I told those guys right there, I was like, dude, we only might shoot one goose today, but this is the hunt you'll remember from this trip. And we 100%. Beat him up yesterday. It's crazy.
100%. Yeah. When you talk about it, it just reminds me of other stories too, like that. Yeah.
Yeah, they're endless.
They're the best.
Endless. Dude. Yeah.
And it's like
more antlers.
People take pictures. People take pictures of like pile pics. You know. So if I were to cover these walls.
So what's funny is that like when you post something on social media, the pile pics get more likes than just like general, which annoys the crap out of me.
Me too.
Like I hate doing it, but I do it. Yeah.
It's tough.
Yeah.
Well, and it's tough. Like I found this app on my
because
phone.
It could be the biggest pile, but it could be the biggest horse crap.
Well, you hated everyone
shooting them
with.
out the back.
100%.
You know, they just weren't doing it right. But it's a big pile, and everybody thinks that's the fallacy of Instagram. It's such a small snapshot of reality.
Yeah,
and it's most of the time it's not even close to reality. That's the issue I have with it.
Yeah,
that doesn't really take in a full essence of. I mean, like I said, a big pile could be a crap hunt. And just a couple of birds could have been great memories, but they don't get exemplified the same way on social media.
100%.
There's a small pond not far from here, and we took our buddy Nathaniel hunting for the first time, and we missed so many birds that day.
6 birds. We should have shot 20.
Dude, and we shot like 2 mergs, a blackjack,
1 mallard,
a goose, a mallard, and Nathaniel just had an absolute blast. Like he's wearing my extra camo. He's got 2 different
types. Lost my charging handle for my gun. Like dumping his shit everywhere.
2 different gloves, and I remember telling him, and he's like a metro kid, like he's a city kid. And he's like, dude, I just really want to get on a hunt with you guys. I was like, well, we don't really have birds around, but let's go here. And I remember him shooting this merg, like he crippled it, and my dog went out and grabbed it, and he's like, dude, it's still moving. It's just doing this. And I'm like, you got to wring his neck. And he's like, what do I do? And I'm like, you got to take him by the head, and you got to throw him around. And he's doing that. And as he's doing it, he's like, how hard do I go? I was like, hard. And as I said that, he goes, whoom, and just throws the body. And he's like, mortified. Just mortified. And I'm just dying laughing. Me, Cal, and my buddy Matt are laughing. And then
picture's right there.
And he's just, this one right here.
Oh, wow.
Guy in the middle there.
Yep.
And like he's not even wearing camouflage. You know?
Yeah.
And dude, we were laughing so hard. And every time I see him, he's just like, dude, we got to go hunting again. It was a terrible hunt. And he's just like, we have to do that again. It was so much fun. It's like, yeah, we do.
Makes it great, though, when you're with people that are on the same page about what it's really about, though. Because then you're just focused on
making memories, man. Yeah. That's all we can do every day is make a memory.
And we played soccer since 6th grade together. Yeah. And I didn't even know that he knew Cal.
And make a memory every day, and that memory is probably more than most pile pictures.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
100%. Well, dude, thank you so much for coming on. Had a blast with you. Can we do it next year at Game Fair? Unless you got fish fries.
Anytime. I'm not.
You have to come back anytime we ask now. That's what we tell people. Once you come on once, you have to.
September 25th.
That 3-year probation's over, so.
Perfect.
Well, dude, go and follow Shawn on social media. It's just Shawn Stahl, right?
Yep.
And we've got Hispanic music to close.
This is our closing music.
Fitting.
You can't be mad.
I had Mexican the other day.
Yeah?
Yep.
I thought you were married, Shawn.
I am.
Oh, okay. Sounds good. Well,
what did you say? I didn't even say.
I thought you were married.
Said you had Mexican. Shawn's like, I have to get out of here now.
All right.
Tacos.
Guys, thanks for listening. Follow us. Leave a review.
Yeah.
We're going to give a giveaway at 1,000. Thanks for listening.
See you
I
soon.
want a margarita.
Yeah, me too. Hey,
We can
one
do
more
that.
thing, by the way.